Hello, hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Chelsea J Experience. And you guessed it, you are in for another Ask Chelsea J treat. All right, let me go ahead and pull up the question that I have today. And this one is from Keisha. Ooh, it's labeled Questions to Ask a New Manager. Keisha says, I just started working at a new company a few days ago and want to make a good impression with my boss. What questions should I ask my new boss so that I can build a positive working relationship with him? Ooh, this is good. And it is so important as an employee that you build a close relationship with your boss pretty quickly. You want to make sure that you both are on the same page and that expectations have been laid out so that you can meet them. And yes, so great question. All right. So, one of the things that I like to ask just right up front is really about expectations so that you can know what you're expected to do over the next few months. I typically recommend asking some of these questions in interviews, but if you didn't get a chance to do it, you can definitely ask it your first week. Number one, I would ask my supervisor, what are your goals for this position for the next 3 to 6 months? What would you like to see me accomplish? Boom, right there, you have a roadmap to know what your supervisor expects from you and what they want you to prioritize and work on. And this should be a pretty decently long conversation because they should have a list of items or even just a couple initiatives that they want you to focus on and work on. That's number one. Number two, it is essential that you know how to communicate with your supervisor based on their preference as well as yours. But whenever you're first starting a role, you're really catering to their preference, right? So I would ask my supervisor, hey, what type of communication do you prefer? Do you prefer email whenever I have a question, comment, or a concern? Or do you prefer that I call you? Do you prefer a video meeting? Or do you want to do weekly or bi weekly or even monthly check ins where I save all of my questions and comments? Of course, the ones that don't need an answer right away. Would you like me to save all of those questions for our weekly or bi weekly or monthly check in? You want to know their preferred way of communication. Because if you don't, you could be communicating in a way that you think is right. And next thing you know, you're getting on their nerves, and then they have an attitude, and you don't understand what's going on and why they have an attitude or why they're unresponsive. Because the thing is, some supervisors, and I've had supervisors like this, but some aren't really good with email because they don't stay on top of it or they're constantly in meetings and their inbox is filling up so they don't get to it in a timely fashion. And some of them just enjoy building that communication through video or in person. So if you have someone who likes to talk and have conversations, you need to know that. Let's see, what other questions would I ask a supervisor? I would ask, hey, is there anything that I need to know that concerns you about this position? Or are there issues in the past that other, employees or my predecessors before me had with this position that you want to give me a heads up on? That's a question to ask as well that will ultimately help you. And just a bonus, one of the questions that I like to ask supervisors is, what can I do to make your life easier when it comes to my role? And often, if you have a good supervisor, they will be very candid with you. And again, they will be laying out those expectations, giving you their thoughts, ideas, and preferences. And this will help you easily navigate your role. Well, and I shouldn't say easily, it will help you navigate your role with a little bit more direction and less stress. Those are the top questions that I would ask my supervisor when I first start to make a good impression. Another thing that I'm just going to throw in there is, on top of asking your supervisor some of those important questions, know who your go to people are. Because one of the things that you don't want to do with a supervisor, and I'm saying this because often they don't know the ins and outs of the role, you want to find who your go to people are for different aspects of your role. because you don't want to constantly be bombarding your supervisor with question after question after question because they may not have the answer for you. And often that's the way it is. So make sure you know who your go to people are and build relationships with them as well. And that will show that you are proactive and resourceful, which will get you bonus points with your supervisor. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you have a question that you would like answered to help you navigate in your career, I would love to help. Make sure to leave that question below in the comments section, or you can send me an email to chelsea@seasonandgrowing.com. And by the way, if you're not following my blog yet, please do, because I put out weekly articles on tips and advice on how to navigate your career. And I discuss a lot of taboo topics in more detail in my articles. So make sure to sign up and subscribe, and I will leave that link in the description section below. All right, thank you so much. Finally, don't forget to subscribe, all right, so that you will be the first one notified whenever I put out a new episode. All right, thanks for tuning in. Talk to you next time.